related to how we are using our resources on the planet, right, to do various activities, which includes human activity, which includes what we do as agriculture, which includes what we do as industry, which running governments, everything, or public services, anything that you do, you need to drive through energy. So what are the two types of energies that we have? One is what we see as electricity, right? The other is we will either have other forms of heat or components like I am putting it as heat. Basically, you are using the heat energy to drive everything. So there is heat that is used either through steam or through a process of moving combustion, the automotive sector. So these are the things. So there are two forms of energy. One is what you call it fossil fuels. So there we go as fossil fuels, right? Fossil fuels have been driving the economy. But what is the transformation that is happening? The fundamental transformation that is taking place right now is to replace fossil fuels with enough quantum of renewables. And what are these renewables? Yeah, that's the way you look at it. But this is purely electricity that you're talking. There are also other ways to look at renewable energy. No, that's again electricity. Okay, so minus electricity. Because last time I spoke on this subject. Now I'm shifting you to energy dynamics, right? From electricity to energy I'm bringing you, right? So energy is much larger umbrella. So where do we need energy? For example, you have a hotel industry, right? You go there, you need steam for cooking, right? Food. At your home, you need fuel for cooking your food. It could come from wood, it could come from gas, it could come from some hot plate that you put it because you drive electricity and then use the hot plate. So a very simple thing what a housewife or anybody at home would do or a house husband would do. Look at it now, the new world, na? तो वही बात कर लेते हैं. ठीक है? So they will have to use heat to even cook a food, right? So what is the source of that? It will go to so deep the subject that what are we using? Are we emitting carbon out of this? So every human activity will be under radar in this coming decade. Every human activity, believe me, will be under radar. Or this is what has been labeled as the Sustainable Development Goal. Of course, UN has made some charter, but that is not a UN charter. It has come from organizations like us, maybe hundreds of organizations like us. I'm working in India, maybe not even a dozen organizations are there in India, but Europe, Americas, all these areas, there are many organizations that are working. Those inputs have gone, and 17 goals were decided, which were so broad that if you go to the website, you can take the 17 goals. Even hunger and poverty is part of the goal. So it is so broad, so it can be, it's not very specific, so it's like a general combination of things that say all human activity and then any activity that goes towards helping that activity also falls under UN Sustainable Development Goals. Okay? Governments have been told that you have to go through ESG, that is environment, social and governance. So they are at the umbrella, so whatever policy they construct, they'll go through the ESG and everywhere they will look at whether the ESG is being fulfilled. Organizations will go, or entities will go, institutions will go, they will try to adhere to the SDG formula, right? But in the bottom tier of all this, I'm repeating something so that because other people have come today, it will be quick, but you'll have to grasp it. The last part is to build a circular economy. Why do we build a circular economy? I don't want to send waste anywhere. So there are three dimensions to this waste. One is the air pollution, the water pollution, and the earth pollution. So Mother Earth receives pollution, air receives pollution, water receives pollution, and all the three are connected to the human civilization. Whether it's a human being or it's a flora or fauna, even plants, vegetation, animals in the forest, whoever it is, whichever life form, it is going to be affected by our activity. And who is pushing this activity? Not the animals. Human beings are pushing the activity, right? The envelope is being pushed up because you want better quality of life. You want to, हमको और बिजली चाहिए, हमें और पानी चाहिए. We are grabbing more resources. As we are capable of buying or purchasing these, as our purchasing power is increasing, we are going and consuming more, right? That's the reality. And when we consume more, we end up putting more pressure on the planet for sure. That's a simple law. So the law of consumption is taking over everybody, right? And as the law of consumption goes, more can afford. See, I would say when India became free, 1947, we were only 30 crore people, that is 300 million, which today America is 33 crores, that is 330 million. So we were almost like today's America in population. but with the land mass which is 1/3 of that of America. Don't forget it, right? The other part is America is very blessed because of various climates it has got. Cold, hot, everything they have got. We were also blessed with the tropical environment because many things could grow here. But how much we were able to utilize depended on what was America's population, not even 10 crore, barely 100 million in those days. So they were 1/3 of us, and today also they are less than that now. So we must understand that we have gone to be the largest population country in the world, with probably not the largest land mass, and probably not the largest resources as well, right? But the one good thing that we have, the one very lucky part, is we are tropical, just like the Africans, many of the Africans. But they don't have the population like ours. But what we have is, compared to China, we have a very, very tropical environment where probably food security and other issues are still not a challenge, but they will become, right? But China, it is half of China, you can't grow any damn thing. You can forget about it. इतना ठंडा है, ठंड में कुछ नहीं उगता है, भाजी वाजी उगाओ, थोड़े फ्रूट वूट करो, निकल लो, पतली गली से, ठीक है ना? The rest of it is all there for you to. So therefore, we have some advantages. But these advantages will go, they'll wash out overnight if we don't understand the productivity of the populations and what they're doing and where they're going, what they're up to next. So every cycle of a generation is barely 20 to 30 years, because you become a student, you come up, I met one of my gurus, Prakasham Tata, recently. He did his PhD at the age of 90. So when I went to Odisha, he was a man, you have to come. He calls me my first name, Kabal, you have to come. You have to come, you have to give the lecture. So I went and did the lecture at Shiksha Anusandhan. How many engineers are there? 10,000 engineers. I was shocked. And out of 10,000 engineers, the class was full with hundreds of them, including the faculty, to hear me on renewable energy. Right? I felt like in place, right? Also, I gave a lecture to the MBA students. But it did not end there. I was supposed to also visit the KIIT, the Kalinga Institute of Information Technology. So I saw Bhubaneswar is like my magic. 20,000 students in that campus, 23,000 students in the KIIT campus. Can you believe it? And so the gentleman from US, who is an authority on waste management, who did the waste management of Illinois and Texas, invited me. Invited me, of all people, because he knew me. Right? That's also a chance and opportunity. He runs the Center for Waste Technology in Chicago. He brought 3 lawmakers, 2 US fellows, of course, and an Indian origin lady who was the first congresswoman from the Democrat side. She was the first ever representative of the Congress in America. She was an NIT Warangal for me, so I was so proud. I did not know till the end, till we danced at some place and then we talked about it. So then I was very happy talking to them. But what is it? What is the challenge for all of these people? They were talking to me on pathogens. Sir, there are a lot of things that are happening. So Dr. Tata is the guru. He says, no, a lot of pathogens. We are not telling what pathogens are coming out of our waste. So, very deep subject, right? So how will renewable come into the picture? It comes. If you can transform the waste into useful resource or wealth. People talk about wealth. So wealth comes only when you make a resource out of it. Either make a product, or recycle it, reuse, recycle, make a product, or bring energy out of it. So there are various ways to do it. Technology is available, maturing day by day. So this also becomes renewable. Why it becomes renewable? Because you're not taking away anything new from the planet. What is available, you're trying to dissuade it, reduce it, reuse it, keep the limit of pollution to the bare minimum. That's what we are trying. So that resulted in one of the CBG reports that we made. That is compressed biogas to be made, that's being used in automotive today. You will be shocked to know that worldwide there's not much success in it. Even the Americans could not do it. But in India, luckily, we had a dozen plants which are coming up. One plant is very old, even before the scheme came of the government. It is 10 years old, so it was known that it can perform. Only thing is some technological shifts have happened. After a white paper, now it's 150 plants. And in the last union budget, the government gave almost, for 500 plants, they allocated some 10,000 crores. I don't know from where they will come, but at least they've announced the budget. Right? So what happens, policy construct come when people like us go and tell them what to do. Right? This is one way of ensuring agro waste is all converted to useful energy. And then it goes into your automobiles. It's called compressed biogas. Actually, it is bio-CNG. It is as same as the CNG that you get, but the CNG that you get is importing gas, reliquefying, regasifying, all those processes, like different forms में आती है, आप energy lose करते हो, gain करते हो, lose करते हो, gain करते हो. By the time it comes, you pay a bomb of a price. Right? So what CNG you're using is damn costly and it is not sustainable. So what we'll do with this is, we'll replace this compressed biogas into the system. So these are quick examples that I gave you. The transformation is happening. It is you have to, the governments, society, enterprise, because the automobile industry must also see that there's an opportunity in transforming our vehicles and our automotive system, and maybe use a life extension program instead of going simply toward the electric vehicles. Because we will go through lithium and then we don't know what to do with lithium yet. Right? And we don't know what to do with cobalt and nickel also. Right? हमारी मुसीबतें बढ़ेंगी हम. We are designed in such a way कि we don't realize कि हम और मुसीबत क्या create करेंगे. अभी की मुसीबत से हम छुटकारा पाएंगे, but नई मुसीबतें create करेंगे. So this is our design. So this design has to also change. Fundamentally, this thinking has to change. And this is, fortunately, unfortunately, there is a lobby that works on it. And they will continue to do it. But intelligent societies would go and say there is an option. And it's a cheaper option. If I get all the vehicles, whether it's diesel or petrol, and I can run them on CNG, it is the most superb option. So this pressure must come from the community, from the markets, from the consumer point of view. Otherwise, it will not survive. You can build, people are now buying, right, left hand, electric vehicle, electric vehicle. Where, what is electric vehicle? पहले भी battery थी. Before World War, there was electric vehicle was made already. It is nothing new. It is not an invention. बहुत पहले हो चुका था. But why people did not use? Because it was difficult to transport electricity. That time grid was not available. So as the grid has grown, so this is nothing new. And I will also tell you, hydrogen was used long ago, my friends. So this is called a company called Zeppelin. So go use this, nobody will tell you. So Zeppelin made what you call as the airship. They designed in Germany the airship, and the airship used to travel at 150 kilometers per hour, unlike the aircraft could go 400 kilometers per hour. Those days it was not even 400, 230, 240, 250. But Zeppelin was like a, like a ship. It's like a balloon going in the, sky. Slow and steady it will go. But it could travel. We could have increased the speed. But what it used, that's where the whole game comes. It used hydrogen, right? And what happened? One single accident. No. How did it happen? This is where people don't learn. It was a fraud. Because Zeppelin company allowed everybody to smoke and do what they want inside. And the body was not duralium, it was wood. Right? So in a wooden body, and you have engines, reciprocating engines, firing hydrogen, right, into it. And if hydrogen is a high velocity gas, its velocity is phenomenal, 46 meters per second. You can't trap hydrogen. You have to allow hydrogen to escape. Either you produce or allow it to go, because it's an abundant gas, more abundant than oxygen. Because they want to do electrolysis of water, which I am not in favor of, because it needs 100 times more energy than separating a carbon chain. So there is that fight is going on. But forget about that. Main issue I am talking about is you used hydrogen long ago, pre-World War, and it was airship. So one little accident, because somebody was making, who did all that, and suddenly it caught fire, whole thing came down, all got charred. Because hydrogen, if it burns, there's no way to escape. So this was the reason. The reason was not that hydrogen was dangerous. The reason was that you designed it and you put all the stupid things inside with an inflammable product. It's like a bomb moving in the sky because of your attitude. Not that the airship cannot be redubbed. So these are simple things that need to get into our head. We can still go to airships. Probably we can go to 250 kilometers per hour. Somebody needs to be innovative enough to design an airship and say, I fly it with hydrogen. That's it. Game over. I heard our great Mukesh Ambani coming, who made a hydrogen truck. I'm telling you, this is the biggest. I don't blame him because he comes from a Stanford and pura pass kiya ki nahi pata nahi mujhe usne. I don't know whether he passed that also. Production, his brother did it. But businessmen will talk this language. Actually, every IC engine that is in this planet is capable of driving with hydrogen. Only you need to make adjustment with the fuel systems. That's all. That's the reality of IC engines. Right? So any spark ignited, there are only two technologies, spark ignited engines and the compression ignition engines. Both of them can be retrofitted to run on gas. And run on hydrogen is much easier because pure. Okay, your engines don't burn anything other than hydrogen in the CH4 chain. So what happens? The heat is so high that you get the carbon deposits, right? You get the little carbon leak and the emission, right? Actually, it doesn't burn. What burns is basically hydrogen in it. CH4 has 4 atoms of hydrogen. So this is pure science. It's not even engineering. It's pure science, pure logic, pure chemistry. Got it? So ये पढ़ने के बाद भी लोग आते हैं वो समझते नहीं हैं. Thousands of hours of coaching, they will not understand these fundamentals because we are not designed to be basically practical. We are designed, किसी ने theory दे दी, हमने पढ़ लिया, हमने कहा हम ये करेंगे. अभी my NIT students came at an alumni meet in Bangalore. All of them, sir, we are making nitros, we are making this vehicle, fast cars and all. I just gave them one challenge. Can you bloody drive your car using CBG? They're gone, finished, game over. Because that's what they're not thinking. वो भाई अमेरिका में ये हम करेंगे, ऐसा करेंगे, नासा बुला लेगा, फलाना बुला लेगा, एक प्राइज मिल जाएगा, उसके बाद क्या? कौन सी ऑटोमोबाइल कंपनी तो उठाएगी भाई? कोई नहीं उठाएगी. कल सुबह सीबीजी का एक इंजन इधर बना दो, MBA स्कूल में, तैयार करके 1 साल में, बता दो आपके यहाँ सारे आ जाएंगे. This is the potential of all these things, right? And it's funny, there's no need to make CBG engine. Engines already run on CBG. So this is the game, right? The Mukesh Ambani can talk hydrogen. We say we make an engine specifically for CBG. And what happens? CBG is abundant because every agro waste or even the municipal waste can be converted to compressed biogas. So this example tells you how much of potential of just rethinking of what we're doing and reusing and recycling is there. It's a mega opportunity that is available. I was just coming in, I was just having a chat. We still are using these bottles. I will drink water, you will drink water from it, everybody will. Why nobody has invented a container which can be away from the plastic? What is happening to us? We're saying startups, innovation, this, that, flana, dikna. But there's no innovation. Somebody is talking innovation. No, we are conditioned. A few people control us. That's what we are doing, and we're claiming to be innovators. We are not innovators. Whole world, I'm not only talking of India. Barely innovation is there. You tell me, why then everybody, every corporate has to go and sign a Google deal to use the Android systems? Such a monopoly. Why we don't only use Microsoft software? Why it was so difficult to have parallel to Excel and other things? Why the operating system? So start thinking on those lines. All the cog in the wheels thing is happening. IT fellows come to me, sir, ये कर दिया बोले, sir, तुम खाली हमाल, back office हमाल सब बोले, you get highly paid हमाल, ठीक है? हमाली करो, पैसा दो, बस पैसा में कितना क्या होगा? So बाप बड़ा ना भैया सबसे बड़ा रुपया बाकी सब भाड़ा में जाए, फिर करी क्यों रहे हो सब यार? कुछ भी मत करो, चुपचाप जाओ उसी के पीछे चलो, पूरी दिन IT पे लगे रहो, वो ड्रॉप आउट है, Microsoft Bill Gates, he is leading you. He knows nothing. Let me tell you. With all due respect to him, I will never. मैं इस स्टेज पे नहीं खड़ा हूँगा उसके साथ कभी भी आएगा. So these monopolies are there all around the world. So in the renewable energy also we have to be very careful. We have to be careful. Are we being monopolized? Are we being told only the things that is fitting certain lobbies? And that is where fight of organizations like REPA comes into picture. We don't want India or any design, especially poor Africa. इंडिया डज नॉट हैव. हमारे यहाँ पर भाई गांधी जी आए थे तो सबसे पहले बताया था भाई मेरे को तो कपड़े पहनने के भी नहीं मिलेगा क्योंकि मेरे मतलब देशवासियों के पास कपड़े नहीं है. गए थे लंदन की एक मीटिंग में. इन दैट मीटिंग ही वेंट विदाउट क्लोथ्स ऑन द टॉप, राइट? वाइसरॉयज एंड अदर्स डिड नॉट, दे वांटेड टू टेल हिम यू डोंट हैव द क्लोथ्स. द सेंट, देन दे सेड द सेंट विदाउट अ क्लॉथ ही हो गया ना. तो क्यों किया उन्होंने ऐसे? क्योंकि इतनी गरीबी थी. वो 30 करोड़ में भी हमारे कम से कम 25 करोड़ आदमी खाने को नहीं था. अब हमारा क्या सीन है? अब हमारा सीन हम 150 करोड़ है, उसमें से 50 करोड़ को खाने को नहीं है, तो 25 के 50 हो गए. You have to think of the world in a different way. पॉजिटिविटी ये है कि 100 करोड़ मजा कर रहा है. 100 करोड़ नहीं कर रहा मजा, 5 करोड़ आदमी मजा कर रहा है. 100 करोड़ उसके पीछे भाग रहे हैं, भाई थोड़ा मेरे को दे दे, नौकरियां ढूंढ रहे हैं. So what is happening? Entrepreneurs. See, people are getting highly qualified and not starting enterprise. They want a job. You guys are waiting for a job. Next, right? I want to be a jobber, isn't it? हमको ये चाहिए, वो चाहिए, वो चाहिए, फिर आएगा थोड़ा पैसा, चलो गाड़ी लेते, ये लेते, वो लेते. That's what you're doing. Are you even thinking about you better prepared than most in the country? You not even 5%, आप 1% में हैं. These students of MBA are 1%, 2% of India's population. और फिर भी आप नहीं सोच रहे innovative, तो क्या होगा? Did it wake you up what I said? And we say we are poor. We will be poor with our psychology. Right? So one of the areas is shift. IT है, ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं, कोई दूसरी एरिया जिसमें मैं अपनी करियर को प्रोलॉन्ग कर सकता हूँ, जहाँ मैं ज़्यादा देर तक बैठ सकता हूँ, जिसमें ज़्यादा ट्रांसफॉर्मेशंस फास्ट नहीं होंगे लेकिन तरीके से होंगे. So there are many of them. Right? Many, believe me. One of the areas is renewable energy for sure. Another area is, believe me, automotives. अभी भी 100 साल तक हम ऑटोमोटिव पे डिपेंड करेंगे. We will be building more roads. We are building more roads. You can watch what we are doing. We are following America. The Americans did not increase the train system. What did they had a lot of land mass. उन्होंने कहा सड़कें बनाओ, अच्छी सड़कें बनाएंगे. जंगल पाताल में जाओ, the road is good, right? But you go to an American train, you get into an American train, you will curse them. They'll say, our India is better. My network of rail is superior. Even though I need a quality issues, but there, the goods train will go in front of you, you will be standing somewhere. And by the time you reach in 10 hours, you'll say, my God, even with all your luxury, you'll say, I don't want this train journey. Because my right of way is for goods, not for humanity. That's how they have designed their system. So if you want to be quick, you fill your gasoline and pack off. That is now hurting the American economy after the Ukraine war. ठीक है ना? अब हर्ट करने लगा, इसका प्राइस बढ़ गया, इसका ये हो गया. अब यूरोप में ठंड बढ़ेगी, मरेंगे ठंड में. टोटी दबा दी पुतिन ने, क्या होगा? सुबह का पानी नहीं मिलेगा. That's the situation of Europe. They need gas to keep themselves, warm. And their thing will start in May. The cold actually starts in May. It's very funny. We will be in the hottest time. They will be going into the cold zone, right? And the moment that comes from there onwards until March, they badly need to get gas so that they get energy, because they need hot water system. They need gas. Anywhere they tried solar, they failed it. Solar again नहीं कर सकता. And they don't get that much sun like us. We are a sun country. They get only 3 hours of sun. How much they can do? Yet they have put all the solar over there. I traveled from Munich to Praha. That is, you call it Prague. The spelling is Praha, Czech Republic. In the whole train journey, I did not see an inch which was not having a rooftop with solar. Not an inch of space. Houses and houses. 2-3 countries going off, right? But I saw all solar. कितने साल पहले लगा दिया. Yet they are suffering. So you realize how much work we have to do. We are blessed. We have huge quantum of sun coming down. We can convert all that light energy. For example, just 3 places in Rajasthan, Jaisalmer, Barmer, Bikaner, have got a potential assessment that we have done is 40 gigawatt plus. If all of that is fired, we can literally take over the lighting load of the country. And that is only 1% of the land mass of India. The country can be lighted forever with just 3 districts. Now you can imagine what type of power it is. But the challenge is, how do we wheel that power from the grid and send everywhere evenly? The bottleneck lies there, right? You have to create infrastructure, you have to have the grid capacity to carry the green energy. It's like this, in this pipeline, मैं इतना ही पानी छोड़ सकता हूँ, right? उसके ऊपर मैं नहीं छोड़ सकता, चाहते हुए भी. पीछे अगर मेरी 5 और नदियाँ आ रही हैं तो भी. So there is a limitation. Everywhere there is a bottleneck, right? So these bottlenecks is what is stopping us, right? There is no planning and design for this. So if we cannot go with grid, what do we do? And this is where renewable energy plays a very major game. The big advantage of renewables is they can go decentralized. जिसको हम हिंदी में कहते हैं विकेंद्रीकरण. Decentralization means I don't have to build a mega power plant somewhere and then transport all the, like we're doing the coal power plants all in Vindhyachal and that Korba belt in Chhattisgarh, all the coal belt. We produce the power there, we try to wheel it up across the country. That's not the right way. We need to plan also hybridized, decentralized development, so that, and that is not coming. So I'm doing a very interesting summit with one of our friends, which because 15 years back, almost, or rather 20 years back, we did a summit called the Municipal Energy. So this gentleman has come, he's a very solid IS officer, he was the Swachh Bharat director. So we got together, so he said, Iyer sahab, aapki soch achhi hai. Now we're coming up to what we call city and energy. So I'm putting up that in May. Thagarajan is working on it. So basically, the game plan is what topic others are not taking, we are taking. And that there also we are showing the importance of renewable energy. Why? Because the city can have its own power plant. We can have a decentralized method of development instead of having a centralized mechanism of producing large power plants and then wheeling them. Right? Same way in the fuel also, in the automotive sector, we are decentralized. Because we are trying to make available fuel in the remote area. Right? How do we do that? If we get this compressed biogas from the agro waste, we can supply this CBG everywhere in the country. We have 6 lakh villages in the country. 3 lakh villages can potentially generate 7 tons per day. 5 to 7 tons per day they can generate. A cluster of 2 villages, together can generate around 5 to 7 tons per day. And that is enough to fire the entire economy. And you believe, and we could be zero importer of gas for the purpose of automotive. So this is this type of game changer that's available. Understood a little bit what I said? Okay. But the problem or the challenges of renewable energy is it is not one-dimensional thinking. Renewable is a large portfolio. So what are all the renewables? I told you last time, I repeat. Anything that does not produce carbon, fundamentally, will be labeled as a renewable energy. So what are those systems that don't produce carbon in the power side? Basically, nuclear does not produce any carbon, so it will also qualify as renewable energy. Solar does not produce any carbon, it qualifies as renewable energy. Wind surely does not produce any carbon, qualifies as renewable energy. Then we have hydropower, which is generating from water electricity, that also becomes part of renewable energy, right? So these are fundamentally the things that are in front of you. But I will also define one more area, which always at REPA we take it. Compared to burning coal and producing power, when you burn gas and generate electricity, your carbon emission comes down by 77% in comparison to coal. So therefore, there must be some window that must define gas-based power as at least a predominant renewable or a part renewable, because it is going to be cleaner energy. It may still generate NOx, SOx and some carbon dioxide, but it is a far cleaner resource than coal. So this understanding also lies there. So at organizations like ours, we are agnostic. We would like to take hybrid, because if sun comes, we don't want the battery, because power has to be taken as is where is, and quickly it has to be supplied. Instead of making costly storage systems, we could hybridize gas with solar, because solar only 8 hours, 7 hours, 6 hours, that's it. Balance of the time what we can do. So this is again decentralized, not very large plants, but smaller plants, which could use again the biogas, or it could use a source of gas. So these kind of things will come. So it's a hybrid economy that we are talking about. We're not talking about an economy which is unidimensional. We're talking of hybrid economy, where you will power your system or your activities using various options. And therefore, these are called energy options. Okay? Or there are 2 words that have been used. One is that they call it energy options. There is a second word, energy alternatives. These 2 ideas are in the fundamental domain, that there are options available, and when I say these options, the treatment over here is simple. Options is where there is different sources are available to a nation, its own geographic spread, its own resources, it will see what we have. According to it, it has to take the choice in the energy options. What are the alternatives? Alternatives come into picture where you're already having a certain portfolio. Most of the developed countries have got this problem. They already have a certain portfolio. They may many times not go away. For example, Germany went away from the coal power plants. They shut down all their coal power plants. But what happened during the crisis? They had to now find ways and means to power their old coal power plants, because they were getting into a big trouble because of lack of gas supplies and the war increase the cost of price of the energy sources, and it's gone. You will not believe, today in India the highest cost of electricity to a domestic consumer, he pays the highest or she pays the highest, is in Maharashtra, which is about rupees 10 to, it will become 11 also, 11 a unit. Okay, Delhi and all is about 7. Bangalore would be around 7 or 8. So, but the highest is paid by the richest state of India or whatever you call it, because they think we are rich. We are not rich. Goa is richer than us, okay, per capita. But yes, in terms of GDP, the largest state is Maharashtra. And Mumbai, definitely considered to be the commercial capital. So, around the Mumbai suburbs, we pay rupees 10 per kWh right now. It could go plus, because there's already, they are representing that we have renewables and we are not able to, so renewables may increase the cost initially of this access, okay. So rupees 10 per kilowatt hour is already there, but this is not viable, because for a common domestic consumer in the urban, the viable range today is rupees 6. Why I am saying this? Production cost of solar, which is the cheapest form of electricity, has come down to 2.5. 2.5 per kWh. So anybody would benchmark with solar. The consumer benchmarking will be done with solar, which is the cheapest. And other power, for example, wind, it will be around 3 per kWh. This is wind. That's a coal. Thermal. I am talking of new plants in the build, not existing plants. Be careful, I am not talking of assets that are depreciated, they are operating. I am talking of a brand new plant if it is to be developed. This is the situation. And then gas. It will not less than that. So this is the scenario. So when you come, what happens? A consumer is consuming electricity. He or she does not know the agnostic किधर से आ रही है. और हाइड्रो होगा तो वो भी अभी कॉस्टली हो चुका है. A new hydro plant would be approximately 4 per kWh. Not like that. But hydro has an advantage because it is a continuous supply, it is plug and play, plus it gives water resources, so I am not putting this into the clubbing zone. It's most important thing to run the grid, that's there. But when you see this, what happens is, what you get as tariff or what you get is all the inefficiencies, the transmission corridors inefficiencies, and then they say aggregate technical and commercial losses. All that adds up and you end up getting a tariff for yourself. And they will even put fuel adjustment charge, पता नहीं 50 चीज़ें डाली होंगी. वो करने के बाद आप देखिए inefficiency of system इतनी है खतरनाक कि अगर average cooling price भी आ जाए ना, even if it comes to 3 or let's say 4 per kWh, right? The 6 will not be achieved. Because the inefficiency cost is so high, that's the observation that we have, that it will almost double after the cost is discovered. So, this is the scenario, but this is India. Right now, believe me, Germany is paying 45 rupees per unit for electricity. So you can imagine what is the level of inflation to which you could be pushed. And this is the argument that will be used to raise the price, just like the fuel prices have been raised. So this challenge keeps on because demand and supply is mismatch. In India, now I'll give you one more figure. China has 2200 gigawatt of installed capacity, which I do not know whether I told you last time, but 2200 gigawatt, but I told in the summit if you all come. Right? While India is about 410 gigawatt. So what happens for the same population, 150 crores, we have only 410 gigawatt. China has 2200 gigawatt. So you can imagine what happens, right? They have fundamentally more access to electricity, about 5,000 units per capita. We have only 1400 units per capita. That's how it is. And then, obviously, what will happen? Our cost of access will become higher than that of China because of the bulk that they have, right? So this is the inefficiency which will reflect again in your system. How? Because the input cost of electricity to industry, to even governments, even the municipalities pumping water to you or anything using electricity, anything that uses that will be that the factor component of access of energy resources will be costlier for India than for China because of the volume issue, right? So this demand and supply law does not change. Got it? So if we are always in the deficit zone, our governments keep telling us, "नहीं, अभी हमारा surplus है." आपका surplus नहीं, you are suppressed demand. I've been a challenger of all these concepts. I said you have suppressed demand. Suppressed demand because you don't have purchasing power. So if you keep on increasing the price, the number of people who want access to electricity will keep pushing itself down. Just like what happened in these 2-3 years. People stopped visiting too much of restaurants. Now you go to malls, what happens there? People are there, everybody, but where there will be food court, right? वो दुकानों में कोई सेल नहीं हो रही, उनसे पूछो footfalls very less, sale very less, sir, and you will see people come, people go, people come, people go. So wholesale is became all business. कुछ लोगों ने लिया, कुछ लोगों ने तमाशा किया, काम हो गया, right? So if you don't create plenty, you will not create markets. Fundamental law. Economics is if you have plenty, opportunity, then only it will come. उसी में हम रिवर्स कर रहे हैं. So while this is going happening, food products, our farmers are producing plenty. What we are doing to them? Hang do pyaj, because our system is very bad, which actually has to give them a kind of a guaranteed support price so that they continue to do agriculture, right? Because if all of them sell their land and they come as Mathadi workers or whatever, or their children say, "Oh, Papa, आपने तो बहुत कष्ट लिए हैं, अब मैं कोई साइंटिस्ट बन रहा हूँ, अब मैं कुछ बन रहा हूँ, चला जाऊँगा." गाँव के सारी जमीनें बुखार और रियल एस्टेट वाला है, they will say swipe it off and they will tell you now you grow less में more genetically modified crops. इसके बाद तो you can write your obituary. Just like America's food security is already over, days are over. Europe's food security is over. China's is 50-50, right? All this why? It's not renewable. You're shocked to know what I'm telling you. What you're eating, you're only filling your tongue. There's no nutrition. It will go down, 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 it's all. Everything, make it big. Potato, tomato, brinjal, make it big. Inject. Or bada karo. ठीक है ना? What will happen? It will have nothing. Because the most important issue is the quality and the nutritional value of food. Right? Nutritional value of food cannot be sustained without having a proper scientific method of producing organic food. Right? So our challenges are several. There also renewable plays a major role. How?
So,
How?
I have a doubt. So, for instance, these high yield variety seeds, which produce more than what a regular,
What do you call as hybrid?
I think it's the ones which are genetically modified.
So then that's done. Game over. It's not hybrid. Call it genetically modified. Why are you calling it hybrid? A hybrid seed is when a farmer does something, mixes two different varieties and brings it. That's called hybrid. This is the biggest fraud. Genetically modified crop is GMC. Finish. Game over. GMC means I'm modifying your gene. Game over. I'm pushing it either through soil or through any other form into you. See, India embraced BT cotton.
Right.
So what happened? The argument, even I used to understand it that way. कि ये तो कॉटन है यार, तो पहनेंगे, बाकी तो कुछ नहीं हुआ. लेकिन what happened? तो कॉटन सीड से ऑयल निकाला गया, गरीबों को दिया गया, उनके एडिबल ऑयल में गया. So this is the way it infiltrates. I'm telling you, very bad health हो जाएगा दुनिया में. You'll not be able to survive. 50, 60 heart problems will start at very low age. हो रहा है, but that वो कहाँ से हुआ ना, trigger कैसे? The vaccines themselves are a question mark. So they are, it's like a double whammy. I stop you doing anything. मैं आपको घर भेज देता हूँ, आप कोई एक्टिविटी नहीं करते, आपको वहीं रखना है. ये पूरा ढकोसला शुरू हुआ. उसके बाद everything was done to even multiply that effect on me. Fear, frustration, people can't meet people, parents cutting them off. किसी को कुछ हो गया तो चलो उसको ले जाओ, कोई नहीं उसको देख सकता. So what have we done? How we have behaved? Is this the protocol? So I'm not getting into that discussion, but just to tell you that everything that you see is not what it is. Okay, if we are going to be just cogs in the wheel, भाई ये बोला है ये करना है, तो ठीक है. Then we all have to accept that some sort of lobbies will keep controlling our minds, and that's not going to happen. Believe me, human civilization is not designed for that, right? आप अपने पेरेंट्स को नहीं सुन रहे, घर के अंदर वो बता रहे सही चीज़ फिर भी नहीं सुन रहे. Don't tell them. वो तो पहला मुश्किल है ना आप लोगों का. You have to redesign yourself to understand that that's the only safety and security point for you. Other than few friends. Friends, what friends? Only those friends who care for you. Right? Not those who call friends because some good friendship day is there, some band is there, some this is there. वो सब friend नहीं है, वो सब बकवास है. असली friend है who care for you and they find ways and means to be with you in your worst times. So find out. Start rejecting. नहीं चाहिए ऐसी दोस्ती. सबको. It's not about male, female, everybody. नहीं चाहिए ऐसी दोस्ती. हमें उन देशों से क्या दोस्ती करनी है जो दोस्त बोल रहे हैं और पीछे से छुरी मार रहे हैं. Why we need these friendships? Why we have to be a diplomat of that time? We should be able to tell a Britisher that you did all these things, you took all my resources back. I can't take it back from you, but at least you accept that you did it. Then I'll be friends with you. तो अगर यही एक्सेप्ट नहीं करेगा तो मैं तेरे से दोस्ती कैसे कर सकता हूँ? तुमने हिरोशिमा नागासाकी में बॉम्ब डाला. It is the worst thing that was done, right? Because you wanted to see what happens to people. First you put the atomic, the first bomb. The second bomb was the bloody plutonium bomb. So आप इतने क्रूअल थे कि आप उसके लिए भी नहीं रुके. उसकी मौत का क्या हुआ? आप बोले ये डाल के देखते अब क्या होता है. और आप कह रहे नहीं ये तो पर्ल हार्बर में हो गया था इसलिए हमने कर दिया. हाँ, bloody well, you Americans apologize to the world. I am an Indian. I'm not a Japanese, but I'll tell for my Japanese brothers, bloody apologize to the world that was the biggest crime on humanity. Till you don't do it, you can't be my best friend. You're only a fair weather friend. And that's where all this also is coming. They polluted the planet. They built the thermal power plant. They come to India and say, भाई तुम बहुत pollute कर रहा है. भाई मेरे को तो 200 गीगावाट है. तेरे घर में तो 400 पड़ा हुआ है. उधर तेरा दोस्त जो है वर्ल्ड वार 2 का जिसको तू दुश्मन बोलता है वो तेरा दोस्त चाइना उसके पास साला 1200 मेगावाट है. 1200 गीगावाट है. Which is 3 times of your capacity. And you kept your mouth shut and ears shut, eyes shut because of Kissinger, kiss and make up. Henry Kissinger, the great, Secretary of State during Nixon's time. So this history, if I start, then it will be in different direction, right? उन्हें सुनना पड़ेगा. But you can only build yourself if you are capable. उसी negotiation में जाएंगे, उधर ही जाएंगे. Renewable energy की बात होगी. बोलेंगे India should do solar. क्यों? मैं खाली solar क्यों करूँ? मैं hydro क्यों नहीं करूँ? तुम्हारी डैम लॉबी आके मेरे कंस्ट्रक्शन को रोकेगी. Why should I agree to that? Right? So that we have our interests. Our interest is principal to our population. So I will see India from Indian perspective. I may be friendly with the Bhutan. I am friendly with the Nepal. I'll try to develop all this. Right? That should be the way. Right? But no American, no Britisher can tell what we have to do here. But we surely are capable of telling them what to do. Reason. Because they started in renewables later. We are one of the forefront countries. Of course, China went leapfrog. Because China, what it did, on one side they developed the carbon. To camouflage it, they developed the renewable also. उनकी दोनों कैपेसिटी बड़ी है. तो अब वो आप इक्वेशन से देखेंगे तो 50% उनका अभी तक कोल का जो है 50% अभी भी वो कोल बेस्ड पावर है. But and they may go to Korean Peninsula, they will come up with under 650 gigawatt, nobody will stop them. And they will dubai-fight a few nations of the Korean Peninsula. We'll keep discussing, Quad, FAD, Jham Dhum. This Australia is of no use. Swayambhu, Indian Ocean संभालना, खुद संभालो भाई. 2 फ्रिगेटें 4 और बना दो. कोरिया से दोस्ती कर लो, बोलो 2-3 सबमरीन दे यार. अमेरिकन थोड़ा चिल्लाएंगे, don't. So these are all very different geostrategic positions, right? So we can't depend on anybody. I'm telling you, that is India. India has to come forward on its own and say I'm the alternate. That's the day we will see leadership in this country. I'm not saying this. We are going. Mr. Albanese is coming. We are taking him to Ahmedabad, Motera. Dance and song is going on. 7 minutes toss lead हो जाता है. वो अच्छा है. Photo opportunity बड़ी अच्छी, प्यारा लगता है, बहुत बढ़िया. उसको क्या पता क्यों आया वो यहाँ? उसको पूछो Albanese को तू यहाँ क्यों आया? You will not have a clue. So we don't need this friendship. We need different type of technology access friendship. We need friendship where people give us, if I want to make a fighter aircraft, they have to give me the access to technology, right? So that I can develop beyond that. In Renewable also I have the same challenge. Right now my efficiency of solar, efficiency of PV system, we are at 23%. But field efficiency is not 23%. The field efficiency we are getting is between 19 to 20%. So what is there in the world today? The Chinese are already come to an efficiency of 23-24% field. So that means they are 27-28%. And they are ahead, I am telling you, than most of what America claims. On this solar, they are ahead. उन्होंने अपनी leadership कर ली वहाँ. So that means they must be doing some research. Fundamentally, they must be working on materials. They are doing forward work on it. So our forward work is not there. We have become assemblers in solar. Abhi bhi, we are not a leader in solar. We are only making capacity. We are assembling. We are purely a very powerful assembling country. And we have a capacity of 12 gigawatt or plus, which is nothing compared to 100 gigawatt in China. So we have gaps, massive gaps. And then we can say, oh, after China, I'm the number 2. Yes, but you're so way behind. The Americans are, and we compare America ने नहीं किया इसको. Nothing to do with them, यार. वो कोयले से बनाएंगे, न्यूक्लियर से बनाएंगे, वो तुम्हारे को भूल जाएंगे. Right? So you be prepared for yourself. You be prepared for your population. That's the most important. Same thing with African friends of ours. Earlier they used to think of India will help them. अब India अपनी help करता रहे, तो तुम्हारी कहाँ से help करेगा? So the Chinese go lock, stock and barrel, take them over and cheat them. It's happening. In the renewables also. See, in Middle East, the Chinese ran away several years back after supplying poor quality. The sheikhs wanted to arrest them. कैसे बच के निकले उनको पता है. तो China अब वहाँ पर Middle East में नहीं बेच पाता. The Chinese system do not sell in the Middle East. There the Europeans and the Americans are selling hot cake, right, at a higher price than what the Chinese do. Because they don't want L1. उनको lowest standard नहीं qualify करना. They want the best. So that's the difference between us and them. So we are working on a L1 tender system. इसमें हमको सबसे सस्ते वाला माल चाहिए. जो सस्ता dangerous है because its efficiency will be poor. So there are a lot of things inside the renewable capacity and renewable system where it's a very, very big task in front of us to move together. We are a leader country, no doubt. I'm not saying that we are not a leader. We are a definite leader in renewable. But we have to also innovate. We have to also look at new things. We have to also increase efficiency. We have to also understand how we can be better performance than most. And we are blessed. We are blessed with the sun. We are blessed with water sources. We are blessed with the wind. Compared to being tropics, as I said, we are a tropical country. So we have the blessings of nature. Reasonably better than most other economies in the world. And that's what is our strength going to be. Because if our resource capitalization is strong and we can work on resource capitalization and work towards technology that can integrate with nature, then nobody can beat us. But we are not innovating. हम क्या कर रहे हैं? उधर बनाया, हम उसको ले लिया बना लिया. मैंने आपको टोस्टर का एग्जांपल दिया था. टोस्टर मेड इन चाइना. कंट्री ऑफ ओरिजिन चाइना. Company Crompton Greaves. We were just showing Tyagarajan which came. मैं कहा यार ये टोस्टर बना रहे हैं. The toaster is Crompton Greaves. Big company. But imported from China. So if we do this for toaster, a bloody bread toaster, we have to import from China. हद होती है. क्या हो गया हमको? Okay, अभी मैं आपको एक आइडिया देता हूँ. Example. Till now we have not made a solar air conditioner. Why? Another example. This is another example. I told you about the water bottle. Why somebody did not make a container which is not polyethylene, something else. So again, our innovation was not there. Is it not? इतने startup बन रहे हैं, क्यों नहीं कर रहे? कल मैं बहुत खुश हुआ, परसों मैंने जब पोस्ट किया. Silicon Valley Bank collapses. I was nice. I was predicting this collapse, right? It happened. Many people start asking, sir, how did you know? This has to happen because the startup itself is a depose now. कोई startup नाम की चीज 95% is NPA, alternative NPA being created in the bank because these kids have no experience, they have capacity to understand what they are doing. उसमें से अगर 2 succeed हो गए तो वो क्या कर लेंगे? कोई पेटीएम बना लेगा, बाद में वो भी घपला करके निकल जाएगा, right? It needed an Alibaba and then China clipped Alibaba, Tencent, Jack Ma, Xi Jinping did not like him, go to hell, right? Game over. And यहाँ पर हो गया अलीबाबा पर 40 चोर. It's not the way to do business. Business has to be done with proper financial management, proper technique, proper this thing, proper fund management. सारा करना पड़ेगा ना. वो experience कहाँ से आएगा? You need some senior people with you. So the startup ecosystem में ये भी एक बहुत बड़ा fraud है. I would be very happy if they give startup money to renewable energy, or to let's say making automobiles new, or to let's say even to make farm equipments. Simple thing है, coconut आराम से कैसे काट सकते हैं, उसके लिए machines बनाओ, है ना? आपको पेड़ पे चढ़ना नहीं पड़ेगा. आसानी से हो जाए. Example, a lot of people doing innovative work in that. So you give money to college students to do this kind of work. Then the money will be useful. आप उसको बोले स्टार्टअप बना, वो कोई हवाई कंपनी बना दी, वो बोल दिया 4 बंदे आ गए और मिल गया माफिया, बोला वैल्यूएशन बढ़ाओ उसकी, कुछ नहीं है वैल्यूएशन बढ़ रहा है. I will tell you, Gautam Adani's assets, 200 billion, are asset itself. What is Elon Musk's assets? I call him the Musk melon. Okay, I put a Musk in front and melon here. Why? What is it? Some bloody satellite going and spying on me? For America? That's it. Starlinks, where is the business? 5G तो लग रहा है, मुकेश अंबानी, मुकेश भाई कर रहा है, चले ना चले मुकेश भाई कर रहा है, वायर डाल रहा है, सब डाल रहा है. हाँ, भारती भी लगा हुआ, वोडाफोन थोड़ा पीछे है ना, लगा देंगे 5G, वो चले रेडिएशन अंदर जाए, हमारी एसएससी हो, कुछ भी हो, लेकिन वो लगा देगा. Where is Mr. Musk? Okay, if we have to do Starlink, why I should go? I can get a 150 Mbps speed from Tata BSNL, Videsh Sanchar Nigam Limited, was bought over by Tata long ago. That's the fastest computers are with them, right? Processors are with them, telecommunication system is with them. So if you have the satellite system with them, Videsh Sanchar, so why Tata is silent? Why we are not asking Mr. Ratan Tata, have you lost this spine to start, what do you call it, a satellite telephony? Why do we need a Musk to come here? Why can't our own guys do it? And even Mukesh Ambani is ready with an SSL takeover, but he can parallelly with 5G, he can hybridize it with this. So what is Musk? What is he doing? किधर business तुम्हारा? भाई साहब तुम्हारा customer किधर है Starlink? कोई नहीं, Tesla, Fusla, right? Who's buying Tesla, man? There's so many electric vehicles. You know, Mahindra will do a better electric vehicle than you. इनके सारे खरीदे भी जाएंगे, टाटा के भी खरीदे जाएंगे. तुम्हारा कब आएगा? बड़ी बड़ी ड्रीमें तुम लगा रहे हो, तो तुम्हारा जो पूरा पूरा है ना, that is the real fraud. That's a full circle fraud of 200 billion plus, and he lost that money after taking over Twitter. So our friends are discussing Hindenburg wrote that. उस घोड़े पे चढ़ गए, बस वही दिख रहा है. क्यों? उधर भी राइवलरी है. 80% चैनल belongs to मुकेश अंबानी. So if Adani gets it, it's okay. जब तक हमारी बिजनेस राइवलरी थोड़ी सुधर न जाए, तब तक फाइट क्या करेंगे? Now SEBI is now investigating shorting. I had told long time that shorting is fraud. Americans did not agree shorting is fraud. It is a fraud. So आप उसको, मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूँ कि अडानी may not have wrong things. Accounting में गलतियाँ करी होंगी, सिस्टम अच्छे नहीं होंगे, भाई वो सुधारा जा सकता है. आप मेरे को कह रहे हैं कि उसके पोर्ट्स नहीं है, उसका ट्रांसमिशन एसेट नहीं है. क्या कह रहे हैं मुझे? किसको पढ़िए स्टॉक मार्केट की यार, समुद्र में फेंक दो उसको. हमारे बॉम्बे में बैठे रोज दलाल बैठते हैं वहाँ, शाम को इसका लेना उसका लेना ये चलता है. That's a speculative gambling market. How do you say that valuation is more important than the asset valuation of a firm? So these are all issues. So here in renewables we build hard assets. We don't build any Hawaii killer. There's a turbine, wind turbines are there, wind farm is there, right? Solar is there, right? If there is a hydropower plant is there, right? These are all hard assets. So you don't hear itself in this hall. Adani Green Energy got 7.7 gigawatt का उनको award मिला था इसी hall, right? Anusha awards. क्या 7.7 gigawatt के asset चले जाएंगे? Is my junior Vinith, who is the head, not Mr. Gautam Adani. The man who is working is an engineer. I know him like the back of my palm. So what should I tell the world? That you're wrong. For sure, right? Same way we got Greenco. Many other companies are there. So I've got a dozen Indian companies doing large capacity renewable energy. So these are all hard assets. They're going to be valued phenomenally because to develop these after 10 years, right, it will take 3 times more cost. So what we have invested today in a net present value system, NPV, when we do it, it will be like we have spent only 1/10 of what we should spend. Because तब इतना cost हो जाएगा, उसकी NPV करी जाएगी. When we used to develop this hydropower plants 10 years back, the cost was about 6 crore per megawatt. Today you cannot build a hydropower plant without 9 to 10 crore per megawatt. So that's the reality. So what we have built is an asset for us. So you can't build the asset again, and then these assets on book value they depreciate. So as they depreciate, it comes back into the tariff and tariff goes down. So always you are benefited when you build assets. There is no substitute to assets. IT is a good integrator and an enabler. It is not to be front loaded on the economy. I keep telling that. This is my standard statement. information technology cannot be front-loaded on the real economy. The real economy is brick and mortar. And brick and mortar has to be, get people access brick and mortar, we have to realize some integrations, which can be you can say IoT, you can put a lot of things in between. But they are enablers. They are not the front-loaded version of economic growth. Front-loaded version of economic growth is when you build ports, we build airports, we build power plants, we build roads, we build highways, we build institutions, we build healthcare center. We have to do all of these things. And all of that will be built with only one idea now. That is SDG and circular economy. इसके बिना उसको नहीं कर सकते, उसकी डेवलपमेंट भी नहीं कर सकते आप. It will not get funded. See, now they will bring this condition, already it is there. In World Bank document already is there, but I don't want World Bank to be standard, but any development financial institution in the world of merit, right? Which could be Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, even if it's sitting in Beijing in China, or the BRICS Bank, any of these, I don't, because World Bank is a lobby again. So forget about them, but KfW, the German arm which is investing, or a European fund that comes in, anybody, they would demand the government that, are you following ESG? What are your ESG strategies for it? So they will need the government to talk about ESG, and governments in turn would ask every company, aapki SDG kidhar hai? And what are you doing to bring the circular economy in? Right? So that means, are you doing the reuse, the recycle stuff? Are you doing or not? If you're not doing reuse, recycle, then aapke marks kam ho jayenge. So you go to take, maybe bank will tell you that since you're not doing all these things, 1% more interest rate आपको पे करना है. Simple thing. इस तरह की बातें आएंगी कि आपको लोन मिलेगा 1%. अच्छा सर आपने SDG किया हुआ है, ये क्या हुआ? Then we'll give you 1% less. So this kind of pressures will start. This is not far off. It's already coming. The Europeans have done it. The Americans have already implemented it. It would be not far off. They're only keeping India at bay for some time, but ये इतना बड़ा pressure ऊपर आएगा अपने ऊपर. क्योंकि it will all be diverted towards going what I say as renewable energy. RE is the game. So some questions came from her. Any questions you want in between? I will otherwise keep continuing. कोई सवाल? Anything? Yes.
So do you think this renewable energy gigs that the companies do are just a marketing stint?
I didn't get you.
Do you think that the renewable energy stints that the companies do, especially the corporates, do you think?
See, corporates will do nothing, यार. उसको तो कोयला जलाना भाई. वो क्यों करेगा renewable?
वही तो मैं बोल रहा हूँ.
They're not interested.
Don't you think that these are?
None of the corporates are interested. Who told you the corporates are interested? Corporate तो पहला चीज है. वो only जो corporate इसमें आ गया renewable में वो करेगा. You think the rest of them are going to do? You know what? I again give a management parlance to this. See, this is an isomorphous force.
I didn't get it.
Oh, it is a management lesson. You are all MBAs, but you don't know what is an isomorphous force. Forces that take you to a singular direction. So this is an isomorphous force. It's not by उनके want या desire से हो रहा है. उनकी मजबूरी है. As I am telling you, all these laws and systems are being framed so that they have to come. Somebody is generating carbon. Where does he go? He says, I want a carbon credit. पहले carbon credit का market आया. अब carbon credit कितना लेंगे? Market में उतना renewable energy का portfolio होना चाहिए ना carbon credit लेने के लिए. So carbon credit is a masala. It is only the same thing rotating in circles. Without building asset, you cannot get a credit. So what is the best way? So then I will bring a law. कि तुम इतना बिजली बना रहे हो, so much of carbon-based energy you have, you bring at least 10% of it, you convert to renewable, or 20% you convert to renewable. So you will be pushed to the corporate or to enterprise. आप option छोड़ देंगे as a politician, as a society, तो वो तो बोलेगा मैं तो treatment ही नहीं करूँगा, पानी में छोड़ दूँगा साला जो भी जा रहा है. So many years वापी we have been polluting, दमन गंगा में पानी ऐसे फेंका जा रहा है chemicals के साथ. हिंडन नदी गायब होगी गाजियाबाद में. किसी ने सुना? Did anybody hear? Did anybody care when these industries came up and did? क्या हुआ भाई? If you have any questions, please ask. All these things happen, right? So Hindon was a major river in Ghaziabad. It was considered to be one of the bigger rivers of India. Today, go and see what is Hindon. Ghaziabad Nadi, वो नदी है ही नहीं. उससे बुरा हाल हमारे बॉम्बे का मिट्टी नदी उधर से निकलती है संजय गांधी नेशनल पार्क से, ऊपर से होती जाती है कुर्ला उर्ला से होके पीछे बैकवाटर से होके एक मस्जिद है और एक क्या बोलते हैं एक चर्च है माहिम में, उस दोनों के माउथ से गिरती है। क्या गिरता है? वन ऑफ द वर्स्ट गटर्ड वाटर इज गोइंग इनटू द सी। उसको काफी अभी सफाई करने की कोशिश की, बिकॉज ऑल बिकॉज ऑफ स्लम्स, नॉट बिकॉज ऑफ एंड देन लेदर वर्क्स एंड whatever happens, because all that slums are all around it, no? Throughout the whole thing. So because it's an urban squalor. So basically we are also, see, human activity is responsible for polluting Mother Earth, whether it is the land, whether it is the air, or whether it is the water. All the three gets polluted because of our actions, right? Okay, our actions means it could be government, it could be individuals, it could be industry, it could be anybody, right? So we have to completely negotiate this entire thing back to normal. That's why we talk about sustainability. So that at least we keep the plant as it is. उसको और खराब ना करें। उस परिस्थिति में जिसमें हमें मिली है उसमें तो रखें। Suppose our generation gives it back in a certain way to you. So at least your responsibility will be इसके आगे और खराब ना हो. You can't change drastically. So all those COP27 meetings are happening will limit the temperature to 2 degrees. To pre-industrial era, they will not be able to do it. 4 degree जाएगी देख लेना. उसके बाद लोग tight हो जाएंगे. Then they will force some other things on, right? Because this happens. You know, this has been the way things have been. Because governments keep talking, they meet, you know, they go to all these meetings. Everybody comes out very happily. There's a nice gaga. Only meeting each other. We are seeing each other's faces. All these leaders come out, do nothing. Believe me, not much. It's only because there is a pressure group of, I would say, people who want environment to be clean, and those pressure groups are pushing them to this direction. So still the pressure groups are there, you'll survive. If the governments have the chance, or I would say the industries or the lobbies have the chance, they will say, dig the gold and get lost. My answer is clear. We have gold digger all around. They are all around. भाई साहब आप कहीं जाओ, किसको पड़ी नहीं है? If you have a passion and commitment to this area, you will be here. If you don't have a commitment to this, तो दुकान शुरू कर. अच्छा पैसा कमा लेगा. एक मेरे साथ एग्जीबिशन ऑपरेटर था. एक बोला सर अब नहीं हो रहा है. क्या हुआ? अच्छा था, बहुत स्मार्ट होता था. But he had a little bit extra weight था. ठीक है. और मस्त एग्जीबिशंस, मतलब he was a master of exhibitions. एक दिन पता नहीं क्या पागलपन हुआ. शादी वादी करी. पुणे में गया. He opened a what? जंबो बड़ा सा. बड़ा पहले 1 साल 1 करोड़ रुपए मिला. पैंडेमिक बाद उसका नाम भी नहीं सुना. So you can take this decision if you just want to make money. But if your issue is I want to make money, I also want to make a change, then the game changes. कितने businessmen में ये commitment है? I'm very clear the top businessmen of the country are going to hydrogen or renewable because there is money. They're not going because they want to do renewable. Otherwise, why would Mukesh Ambani build a refinery? उसी टाइम शुरू हो जाता ना हाइड्रोजन लेके. सही बात है, मैं तो पूछ रहा हूँ उनको. तुम्हें अभी याद आई है? 15 years back they got our award for the first rooftop solar in the country. Not even 15 years back. It was much before. Yeah, it was 2011 की बात. So they got this award for Tyagaraja Stadium. It's my colleague's name, है ना? Tyagaraja. Tyagaraja Stadium. Here, rooftop solar, the first in India. 1 megawatt rooftop solar on the stadium, done by Reliance, Mr. Mukesh Ambani's company. The whole team was jumping after getting the award. We got a Russia award. My God, this is the. Uske baad, after 2 years, gone. Now he is entering back because Adani benefited from it. Right? So now I also to come. So this is also an game. So you should, when you build refinery, you should have thought about this long ago. But अब क्या है कि they're committing, will put 75 billion, 80 billion, but don't believe their commitments. All these announcements are good for shareholders, stock markets. Yeah. I will see when it comes on the ground. But I'm not putting my weight on these guys. I'm putting the Mahindras are there. The many other companies, Wipros are there. The emphasis may not be there, may think in the future, why not go green and clean, So many of these organizations will have to make an effort. It can't be just 1 or 2 who champion. Tata's already have renewable entity, right? Then there is a company called Renewable. It is also a renewable entity. You know, I work with technology players like Renewable, Vikram Sola, you know, these kind of people. Rani itself is there. Right, Greenco I told you is there. They came. So there is a plethora of companies that are there. Even the government companies, their maximum commitment is coming from NTPC, NHPC consortium. They have committed almost like 15 to 20 gigawatt to renewable. So it's not like you can think the old time जो PSU होती थी वैसे नहीं है ये PSU भी आगे जा रहे हैं. And they have now alliance with many, like they are making alliance with the Bihar government. They are going in, working with the state government entity. They are making JVs. This may turn the whole tide in a different direction. So India's renewable traction is in a very fantastic zone, provided we handle it well. We cannot just make announcements, we have to execute. Our problem in the past has been the same. Announcement karte hain, execute नहीं. Our report was 100 gigawatt solar by 2022. So where did we reach? 2022 and 60 gigawatt. But हमने फिर भी कहा चलो कम से कम 20-25 की नहीं बात हुई 60 तो कर लिए. At least some target was there. So the 40 backlog will be finished by 2024. So they will then say, okay, it's because of pandemic we went back. But because of pandemic नहीं है, because of your stupid law, stupid policy construct. Every time you want to make an extra buck, so you increase the custom duty on solar. उससे Indian businessman को तो मार रहे हो ना, custom duty increase करोगे, China का क्या फर्क पड़ेगा? Because the 18% is GST, China calculate करेगा 22%, अपनी industry को बोलता है पहले बेचो, इधर आओ 22 रुपए ले जाओ. China does that with its own industry. They're very clever. So if you pay the duty and bring the Chinese, nobody will stop you. आपके phones हैं. Show me an Indian phone which can compete with any of these Chinese brands that are manufactured out of Noida now. They say made in India phones. Oppo, Vivo, बढ़िया phones हैं. Can't say everything is bad. You know, you have to come, you know, prove that it is bad. So we can say, okay, somebody is spying you. Some Chinese are hearing what Professor Iyer is talking, or what somebody else, one of you talking. But all bull crap. Once you open a game and the manufacturing comes to India, there is no color to manufacturing after it comes to India. The only thing is national security. Watch करते रहो. आपको जापानी यहाँ आके पैसा लगाए, कोरियन लगाए, चाइनीज लगाए, अमेरिकन लगाए, ब्रिटिश लगाए, तो जब हमारी धरती पे आ गया भाई वो तो अपना हो गया इंडियन. You don't work like this. You can't be stupid, right? Because they're going to employ our people. Repatriation of income is standard technique. कि investment किया profit को repatriate कर सकते हैं. This is everybody is doing. America is calling us, invest here and I will give you a great taxation law. You know, even you market hell. Once you reach there, then you realize it is hell. That's how it is, right? Marketing of hell is the best. You come here, all the jalsa will happen. सात पूरे मिलेंगे, सब बोलेंगे. When you come here, then I will know you're going to hell, man. But is that? But you showed me something else. No, that was marketing. Sales technique. सारे करेंगे. But the whole thing is, once somebody comes into your country and invests, he should stay. They should stay for a long time. It has happened. So many German investments, European investments are all in India. India is seen as a country which will not steal the IPR. One of the best part of our is we are not IPR thieves. You tell me TVS Suzuki was there. TVS अलग है, Suzuki अलग है. Hero Honda was there. Hero अलग है, Honda अलग है. आप automotive के example ले लो बढ़िया. And only recently a Chinese car has entered, which is MG Hector. Otherwise China की कारें यहाँ बिकी हैं. मोटरसाइकिल एक भी बिकी है. Now BYD is a different company. Actually BYD जो है ना, उसकी background है वो ताइवान बेस्ड एंटिटी है और उसका पूरा डेवलपमेंट यूरोप में हुआ है. सो वो नाम से मत जाइए. वो तो अभी टेंशन के जाके मतलब बहुत केयरफुल है, वो फंसना नहीं चाहते हो. सो दे हैव पुट ऑल देयर लेग्स एवरीवेयर. It's not, you can't see BYD as even MG Hector is like that. It's a takeover of a European brand and converted to it. So basically you can't, a typical Chinese motorcycle, if it comes here, I'm telling you, you get an electric vehicle at $8,000. Is it coming? 8,000 रुपए में स्कूटर दे देगा, मोटरसाइकिल दे देगा. नहीं compete कर सकते भाई साहब. I got all the this information coming to me, and they will, you know, not only EV, they will make it hybrid and all that. Capable है. Middle East में बेचते हैं सर.
अफ्रीका में भी तो सर पहले चाइनीज मार्केट का ही वो था मोटरसाइकिल में, बट उसको तो इंडिया ने कम्पीट करके हरा दिया. अभी तो सारा वो बजाज और टीवीएस.
वो ठीक है यार, देखो बजाज और टीवीएस क्या है, they are very solid companies. You understand that Indian automotive, मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ, Indian automotive industry is a mature industry, but still आपको पता होगा या पता नहीं होगा, we don't still make our engines. That is the reality. वो हमारी मुश्किल है. ठीक है, हम डिजिटल फ्यूल इंजेक्शन हमने फिट कर दिया छोटे वाले में, क्योंकि दो फेलोज इन जापान दे फिटेड ऑन द and the Germans they put on the 500 bhp engine, not on the 100 hp वाला है, तो हमने तो उसमें 100 hp वाले पे लगा दिया. So there are some innovations we are doing, but we're doing micromanagement of small things, but we're not designing an automotive engine for ourselves. The only one is Bullet, where we can say a 1964 Harley Davidson model was taken over, and then उसके बाद जितनी improvement हुई, पहले वो Enfield के पास था, Enfield ने काफी दिन चलाया, उसके बाद Iyer को बेचा. Now Iyer is doing extraordinary work. So that we can say in some way we have progressed, because no more the old Harley Davidson engine. It's a modified, and they've got many products out of it. So we can say it's this kind of thing. Sonaliga tractor, उसके engine हमने बनाया. But we are still not there. Like we are still not having anything that can use Jatropha extract, that means biodiesel. We don't have an engine delivering biodiesel. The moment you have an engine delivering or using biodiesel, people will make Jatropha extract. फिर वो biodiesel भी बनाएंगे. Got it? So it's just like I told you, it's a demand and supply game. If I have technology which can do this, then surely people will start producing fuel also. Fuel तो locally produce हो रहा है, बाहर थोड़ी हो रहा है. Jatropha तो इंडिया में grow होता है ना. So any of the biofuel that we want to take out, all this is grown in India, and we are still researching on those biofuel plants. Many different varieties of plants can give you biodiesel also. So other than the CNG, there is also biodiesel scheme which can go in. So these revolutions will happen if technology plus the raw material start hybridizing or combining. Research has to go back to the universities. Marketers like you or innovators like you should say, I will go to the startup in this direction. Right? Rather than going to what typical दूसरा कोई टाइप का स्टार्टअप ले लिया, कोई IT में चला गया, कोई इसमें चला गया. That's not going to work. अभी तो it's a very important time. What happened to SVB? Now you will see the startup ecosystem is shaken. I was waiting for the shake-up. अब मजा आएगा. अब लोग कहेंगे ये सब करते हैं. तो अभी असली पैसा मजा आएगा. पैसा डालेंगे, रिजल्ट आएगा. क्योंकि अगर वो आसान रास्ता मिलता रहा, like we took all engineers, Infosys, Wipro, PCL, HCL, so many companies came. They took engineers and made them IT people. So one generation was collapsed because engineering की तरफ सारा खत्म हो गया. Engineering only कर रहे थे IT में जाने के. तो फिर civil, mechanical, electrical क्यों बन रहे हो यार? Electronics क्यों कर रहे हो? सीधा IT इंजीनियर बनो ना. ये बात हो गई. So this आपके एजुकेशन सिस्टम में भी यही प्रॉब्लम है. MBA कर रहा है, HR है, फाइनेंस है, फलाना है, ठीकना है. अब वो HR कर लिया, वो कहीं और नहीं जा सकती या जा सकती. ये कौन सी बात हुई? Why? You tell me the biggest HR is happening in marketing. And sales वाला और भी खतरनाक है. सबसे ज्यादा लोगों को सेल्स और मार्केटिंग के लोग मिलते हैं. So why they are not taken into the HR? The dealing dealers, suppliers, पता नहीं कौन कितने चैनल पार्टनर्स, उससे ज्यादा एक्सपीरियंस्ड कोई नहीं हो सकता. I do master of all programs is marketing program. I'm a PG in marketing management, so I can tell you what it's all about. Relationship management is the bossy. If you can manage your relationship, you live forever. You can do anything with yourself. Right? So if that person cannot go to the HR domain, then why are you doing that? Why are you compartmentalizing? And why can't an HR person who's handled softly people go to an area of people marketing? What is stopping? This kind of cross thinking is not existing in the domain. But हमारे लिए वो सब चाहिए होगा. See, for example, jobs that are being created here, in the renewable industry is crazy. They want, an area can cover like energy strategist, right? Sustainability champion. इस तरह के बहुत सारी नौकरियां इससे निकलेंगी. ये जो आप सर्टिफिकेशन लेके जा रहे हैं, आपको ऐसा लगेगा सर्टिफिकेट एक और आगे बस हमको एक प्रोग्राम बैठना था, एक और दे दिया. It will open gates for you. There is no scope for, I tell you, every company will go renewable. Even a pharma company will think renewable. वो बोलेंगे यार हमारी बिजली का बिल क्या है? अच्छा लेके आओ. ठीक है, हम अभी बिजली कहाँ से ले रहे हैं? अच्छा हम लोग सर इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बोर्ड से आती है. अच्छा हमारा रूफटॉप कितना है? सर इतना स्क्वायर मीटर्स का रूफटॉप है. Why we are not making our solar? That's where it comes from. Because that much money will be saved, and I can tell you the brilliant saving happens. There are companies, I tell you, who did rooftops, pharma companies. Rooftops से सोलर लगा दिया, सारा कुछ किया, अचानक पता चला महीने का बिल 2 करोड़ कम हो गया. You understand this type of thing?
Elon Musk भी तो ऐसा है rooftop solar.
कहाँ है वो?
सर उसकी भी कंपनी है सर. उसकी भी सोलर पावर कंपनी है.
मालूम है, लेकिन क्या किया उसने?
सर
मार्केट में डाला था चीज में बट अच्छी मार्केटिंग में भी लोगों ने खरीदा नहीं।
उसका प्रोडक्ट ही बकवास था। हाँ ये बात करो ना
उसने
आप।
मतलब सोलर निकाला, उसने ये बोला कि टाइल्स की जगह, टाइल्स का मतलब एक रिप्लेसमेंट बना दिया तो खुद ही पावर दे रहा है।
सबसे पहले तो मैं पूछूंगा उसको, तेरा एक पैनल कितने में बिका है? ये अगर वो मुझे एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर सकता, आज तो चाइनीज धड़ाके से मार देंगे तुम, अगर तुम ये नहीं समझा पाओ कि पर किलोवाट मेरे को कितने में बेचना है। नाउ इज कम टू दैट लेवल एंड एफिशिएंसी, द अदर साइड इज एफिशिएंसी।
तो सर आपने पीछे लिखा है कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन है और द अमाउंट व्हिच वी हैव टू पे।
नहीं नहीं, दिस इज द कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन दैट आई हैव रिटन।
तो सर इसका
देन इसके ऊपर कम से कम डबल हो जाता है, अगर पूलिंग करोगे तो भी डबल हो जाता है।
तो सर इसमें फॉर्मूला क्या लगा था, मतलब कॉस्ट ऑफ टोटल प्रोडक्शन डिवाइड
एक थंब रूल है, ट्वाइस ऑफ दैट हो जाता है। जो भी पूलिंग कॉस्ट आता है ना, इनएफिशिएंसी कॉस्ट इज 2x।
इनिशियल कॉस्ट भी जोड़ लिया था, इनिशियल कॉस्ट जो मतलब पावर हाउस लगाने के लिए चाहिए होता है।
तो वो तो जोड़ेगा ही ना, वो तो तुम्हारा आईडीसी में आ जाता है। इट्स कॉल्ड इंटरेस्ट ड्यूरिंग कंस्ट्रक्शन।
हर एक चीज के लिए अलग होगा ना, हाइड्रो के लिए
हाँ तो अलग होगा, बिल्कुल होगा।
इसमें सबसे एक्सपेंसिव कौन सा है?
ये ऐसे हम ले नहीं सकते। देखिए क्या है कि ये जो कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ एक्सपेंसिव है ना, फॉर एग्जांपल मेरे से पूछो तो सबसे अच्छा पावर प्लांट ही है भाई। ये 100 साल का एसेट है यार। हमारी शॉर्ट टर्म थिंकिंग है, कोई भी चीज इसमें से 100 साल लास्ट नहीं करेगी। इसका 25, इसका 25, इसका 25, इसका लेट्स से 30, दिस इज 100 years plus. Only nuclear will match it. Nuclear आप आराम से 50 से 75 साल चला सकते हैं। So when quality of the asset you talk about, there is nothing like hydro. वो भले 9 करोड़ पर मेगावाट में वही डेवलप करूँगा ना, मेरे को आगे करना ही नहीं। सो दिमाग वैसा होना चाहिए। और पॉलिसी मेकर्स डोंट हैव दैट माइंड, दे आर इनटू पॉलिटिकल गेम। उनको 5 साल में लोगों को आपको मुगली जन्म मुट्ठी पिलानी है, ठीक है। मैं आपको बोलूंगा मैं इतने गीगावाट बना दूंगा, कर दूंगा, मैंने तो आपको अनाउंस कर देना है। बिल्कुल रिन्यूएबल के गीगावाट बनाओगे भाई, मैं 100 गीगावाट सोलर बनाऊंगा। मैं सोलर खिलाफ नहीं हूँ, लेकिन मैं बता रहा हूँ 100 गीगावाट सोलर बनाऊंगा तो मैं आपके लिए केवल 20 गीगावाट की एडिशन कर रहा हूँ। ये सच्चाई है उसकी। थर्मल मैं वही 100 गीगावाट बनाऊंगा तो थर्मल में से मैं 50 गीगावाट निकाल लूंगा, 58 गीगावाट निकाल लूंगा, बिकॉज द प्लांट लोड फैक्टर का कंसेप्ट है। सो दिस इज टेक्निकल कॉन्सेप्ट, साइंटिफिक कॉन्सेप्ट, एंड नॉट ओनली दैट, एक्चुअली क्या आ रहा है ग्रिड के ऊपर। मैं वो अभी उसको भी मैनेज कर लिया। ट्रांसमिशन लॉस इज नाउ वेरी लो। कहाँ होता है मतलब हमारे यहाँ बोलते हैं ना, देयर इज हिडन लॉसेस। हिडन लॉसेस मीन्स देयर आर टेक्निकल टर्म्स व्हिच विल नॉट अंडरस्टैंड। हार्मोनिक्स, इट्स कॉल्ड इलेक्ट्रॉनिक पोल्यूशन, वो फाइंड ही नहीं कर सकते। इंडस्ट्री सबसे ज़्यादा जनरेट करती है, तो हमें वो सिस्टम्स लगाने पड़ेंगे कि ये सारी बिजली वी विल बी एबल टू फाइंड आउट। चोरी होती है, डायरेक्ट थेफ्ट होता है अभी भी इंडिया में। डोंट थिंक दैट इंडिया में चोरी नहीं होती बिजली। यूपी बिहार में धनाधन चोरी होती है, कितना भी बोलते रहो। तो वहां पर फिर वो कैपेसिटी भी नहीं बनाएगा आदमी। कोई भी बिजनेसमैन आएगा, अगर उसकी बिजली चोरी हो जाए वो क्यों बिजनेस करेगा, राइट। तो उसमें आपको सेफ्टी, सिक्योरिटी, डिसिप्लिन, ये सारा इट्स नॉट एन ईजी थिंग। एंड विदाउट इलेक्ट्रिसिटी और एनर्जी वी कांट सर्वाइव, नन ऑफ अस कैन, एंड वी नीड इट एट अफोर्डेबल प्राइस। वी कांट बी गिवन दैट एट सम एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी प्राइस। द पीपल कैन नॉट, आवर गवर्नमेंट कैन नॉट कम एंड से भाई जर्मनी तो 45 हो गया, तुम कम से 20 तो दे दो। तो ये वो कहेंगे, ये कहेंगे इट्स इजी वे, बिकॉज जितना कम किटे उसमें ज्यादा प्रॉफिट करो और डेवलप मत करो। तो दिस इज द वे वी आर डूइंग। सी वी आर, हमारे कंट्री में हुआ क्या है ऑल दिस वाइल, आवर स्ट्रेटजी हैज बीन टू क्रिएट शॉर्टेजेस, एंड नाउ वी आर कमिंग आउट ऑफ दैट एरा ऑफ शॉर्टेजेस, क्योंकि वो धीरे धीरे आ रहे हैं, इतनी फास्ट नहीं आ पा रहे हैं। इट स्टार्टेड व्हेन वी स्टार्टेड बाइंग स्कूटर्स। सो व्हेन वी हैड टू बाय द स्कूटर, हमें 1-1 साल रुकना पड़ता था। टेलीफोन लाइन 1-1, 1.5 साल लाइन लगती थी। अब देखो आप मोबाइल उठा लेते हो, सिम कार्ड इमीडिएटली कितने टाइम में चालू होता है, हाउ क्विक द सिम कार्ड एक्टिवेट्स। एग्जैक्टली, सो व्हाट अ चेंज। देखो, सो इट्स नॉट ऑल नेगेटिव। आई एम सेइंग वी बीइंग अ डेमोक्रेसी विल मूव अ लिटिल स्लोअर, राइट। हम थोड़ा स्लो जा रहे हैं, बट श्योर जा रहे हैं। तो बट you people who are actually will be at the limelight in the next, probably will have to lead the whole thing, right? So you can't be followers, you have to become the leader in that whole town. You can't be just followers। अभी सब जगह फॉलोअर चल रहा है, लीडर बनो ना, ठीक है ना। एनी क्वेश्चंस? अदरवाइज आई एम गोइंग टू अ लिटिल बिट टेक्निकल, थोड़ा सा मार्जिन आज मुझे थोड़ा तो आपको देना है टेक्निकल। इफ यू हैव एनी अदर क्वेश्चंस ऑन दिस, the economic part I have reasonably explained to you, economics of energy. Of course, these 8 hours are not the be-all and all. You have to read. If you are interested, you have to get into the subject. I have been practicing this for 30 odd years. I started with lift irrigation and water resources, and then came to electricity, and then loved the whole thing. my understanding of electricity and how useful it is started from pumps, agricultural pumps. That's where I understood the whole thing, because they were using diesel. Farmers were pumping using diesel. I saw, my God, this subsidized diesel is going in. So as a youngster, I saw, my God, ये तो diesel subsidy जा रही है, करोड़ों रुपए का नुकसान हो जाएगा. ये भी तो इसकी भी स्थिति होगी बेचारे की, खेती में पानी डालना है और ये डीजल खरीद रहा है, डीजल का भाव बढ़ेगा. ठीक है, that's where my whole thinking started changing.
Sir, sir, in the previous session you said that India is not a developing country; it's a transitioning country.
Transitional economy.
Transitioning economy. So how, why don't we common people see the transition happening?
I will tell you, the problem with common people is they are not, see, first of all, education is not there to the extent it should be. Okay, we are better than before, but अभी भी हमारा education उस level पे नहीं है. ये माननी पड़ेगी, access to education किधर है. आज आपको कोई MBA प्रोग्राम करना है, चलो आपके इसमें तो NDI में तो reasonable फीस है, कई जगहों में तो ऐसी फीस है आप सोच नहीं सकते, 25-25 लाख. तो वो कोई बच्चा गांव खेड़े से आएगा, वो 25 लाख, वो भग जाएगा, बोलेगा यार बस मेरे को पढ़ना नहीं है भाई, है ना, मेरे फादर तो खेती से इतना कमाते हैं. सो द एक्सेस टू इंफॉर्मेशन एंड एजुकेशन इज नॉट देयर विद मेनी पीपल. यू आर द हैव्स, डोंट इवन डिस्कस द हैव नॉट्स, एंड देयर आर प्लेंटी एज आई टोल्ड यू, राइट. सो यू आर लकी पीपल, यू शुड बी वेरी थैंकफुल टू गॉड एंड टू योर पेरेंट्स एंड टू एवरीबडी, टू द इंस्टीट्यूशन, कि तुम्हें ये मौका मिला, राइट. सो वन ऑफ द रीजंस दैट वी आर नॉट एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस सब्जेक्ट डज नॉट become a mass subject because 85 crore not bothered to transit. क्या है transition? What is it? They don't understand. So politicians are very happy pitching with them whatever they are pitching. They don't have the challenge. But the same thing is not true in America. In US, if you start talking sense, I tell you, if I was a US citizen, if I had done that, I'm telling you I would have become a politician for sure, quickly. I would have won because of cleanness of the whole system. Because education is more. Right? And average education. I'm not saying we Americans are also dropping out. They're also going out in 12th and all. But udhar kya, what is America? America is made with the Indians, the Israelis, the Germans, the Italians, the Spanish. What is America? America is a nation of all nations. वो तो एक melting pot है जिसमें लोग दूर से आए and land of opportunity उनके यार क्या उसको. आपका neighboring Singapore है क्या Singapore? It was basically people who came, they were common slaves थे, साउथ से लोगों को लेके गए ब्रिटिश, और वो मैंडरिन स्पीकिंग पीपल थे, दोनों ही स्लेव थे. मलेशिया में वही हाल था. तो these slaves when they got free, what happened? They had empathy for each other. वो एक साथ काम करने लगे. तो वहाँ पर आज नंबर 2 लैंग्वेज तमिल है. तो नंबर 3, फर्स्ट इज मैंडरिन, सेकंड इज मलय, थर्ड इज तमिल. आप हंसोगे, हिंदी भी है, बैलेट पेपर पे लिखा होता है हिंदी में. तो सिंगापुर क्यों मल्टीलिंगुअल बन रहा है? क्योंकि वो हाईली एजुकेटेड सोसाइटी. उसको आप ये बात करेंगे ट्रांजिशन, दे विल अंडरस्टैंड. So this will remain. So you have an audience who can understand this is barely 5%. As I told you from the beginning, we are talking to a 5% audience, but it works. Nothing wrong with it, because this 5%, I told you, are the transformers. They are the ones. They have to increase this number to 10. So nothing wrong with going that way, right? Don't worry about the 90. 90s are followers. वो फॉलो करेंगे आप. ठीक है. सो दैट्स आंसर. व्हाट इज ट्रांजिशनल इकोनॉमी? नाउ ये ट्रांजिशनल इकोनॉमी आप मेरे से पूछ रहे हैं. इस ट्रांजिशनल इकोनॉमी में व्हाट हैज हैपेंड टू इंडिया? इंडिया हैज अडॉप्टेड दिस, व्हाट इज इट कॉल्ड? व्हाट इज आरपी? हर्ड दिस वर्ड? रिन्यूएबल पे आ गया मैं सीधा. It was initially defined by the governments as renewable purchase obligations. What was carbon credits got converted to renewable purchase obligations. That means every industry was told a certain quantum of your energy, share or pocket should go towards renewable. So initially to state governments and utilities they said कम से कम 10% आपको renewable से आपको generate करना है. Generators were first told. But people like us questioned this. हमने कहा ये जो word है ना, ये this word is purchase. We said market does not understand purchase. Purchase is too short a term. Market understands what we call as portfolio. Why portfolio? Because unless I have capacities, how will people buy? The first is you can't put the cart before the horse. So we need to have capacities, right? And that's what has come. So after we raise this point, I call it RPOO, which is Renewable Portfolio Obligation. After we said this, government came up with two obligations, splitting it into so what is it? It's called Renewable Generation Obligation and Renewable Purchase Obligation. Dono ho gaya. The flaw was corrected in this way, but that is not the right way. The simple word would be go towards portfolio obligation, because the number of assets that come in the renewable domain will ensure that people are able to buy renewable energy or access it. And the moment that is done, you are looking at this transitional economy suddenly shifting towards a developing economy. Right? We become a developing economy in real sense. To become developed, we have to bring all our people out of poverty. For the majority, बहुत कम में आपको रखना पड़ेगा उसको time लगेगा. It's a very massive game plan. Means if we double this GDP from the current 3.3 trillion to 6 or 7, I think we will be very close to that BPL going down to less than 20%. So that will be the first shift, The second shift will be what I always say. The big shift is the 13 trillion economy, which I have predicted for 2032. 32 नहीं आएगी, 35 आ जाएगी. But 32, तो तब होगा, तब we will see that India becomes a developed economy. So we are on the path. But this, luckily for us, we have not developed too much of carbon oriented. Our economy is not driven too much by carbon compared to others. So एक तरफ की हमारे पास कम capacity. On the other hand, there is an opportunity that since we are not developed, we will go the green way. And since we go the green way, our transition will be smooth. We will go towards a developing economy with a lot of green. And I can tell you that the portfolio by 2032, India would be 60% plus RE. 60% of the capacity will be renewable. That shift, when it's from 40 or 25, we go to 60, then that game changes. That means whatever you're doing, and then that definition of SDG and the carbon goals all come in your favor. And then you are dictating. So it will take time. Nobody can imagine the next 5 years maybe we're going to dictate the world policy. But we would surely dictate that in 2030-32. India will become a very important part of the policy construct of the world order. So, बात clear हो गया? क्या है कि आपको economic strength चाहिए. The method of growth आपका should be green, right? These very fundamental things will make the shift for us. And that's your generation and the next generation, a couple of more generations. They would be actually facing this. Challenge होगा पहले, लेकिन the moment they cross it, it will be like, 1983 तक हमने क्रिकेट में वर्ल्ड कप जीता नहीं था. कपिल देव आए, हम जीते, है ना? एक आदमी की विश्वास था कि भाई मैं इसको जीत लूँगा. पूरी टीम भी विश्वास नहीं कर रही उसको. पूरी टीम तफरी करने गई थी, पर एक पागल आदमी था. वो कहता ना श्रीकांत, वन मैड मैन, ही सेड नो, वर्ल्ड कप हम जीत सकते हैं. तो कपिल पाजी का वो मैडनेस चाहिए था ना कि भाई हाँ वी कैन बीट द वेस्ट इंडीज. माय गॉड, क्या पागलपन है. वो वेस्ट इंडीज को बीट करना मीन्स रात को आपको मतलब नींद नहीं आएगी सोच के कि ये बॉलर सोच आएगा. चल, so if they could do, that resulted in then next what happened? Ganguly tried, he took us to the final. Then you got the Mahendra Singh Dhoni. He showed you that we can win again. And कभी home team home में नहीं win किया, वो भी कर दिया. ठीक है, so this is a similar kind of thing. You have to, anything that you are weak, you have to work on it. For example, we were the greatest hockey team in the world. Until the 1980s, we have won many Olympics. 1980 was our last Olympic at Moscow, gold. उसके बाद हम आगे नहीं आए. हम कहते नहीं वो एस्ट्रोटर्फ बन गया, ये हुआ वो हुआ. All this is bull crap. We have not produced another genius like Mohammad Shahid. He was my generation. In fact, Kapil Dev said my hero was Mohammad Shahid. So you can imagine why Kapil Dev said Mohammad Shahid मेरा hero. The 5 feet guy, but he could dribble like magic. उनको करते हुए देखा है. I could not see the ball. He pushed on top of it and frequency पे ball गायब हो गई नीचे से. तो वो genius नहीं है अभी हमारे पास. So we have stopped producing now. We have stopped producing these people. They must be there. We're not taking them out, training them, bringing them, saying this natural sport we have to win. We're not creating a ecosystem. That means every city should have at least one major astroturf. So that, and you should open to public. One can be kept safe, one can be open to public. जब तक आप इसमें इन्वेस्ट नहीं करोगे, आप कहाँ से मिलेगा? उसी तरह से हम जब रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी में इन्वेस्ट नहीं करेंगे, हम उसमें ढालेंगे नहीं, हमें कहाँ से रिजल्ट मिलेगा? So anywhere you go, it is that you have to put your money where your mouth is. Otherwise, you are not succeeding in this. Clear? Okay. Now, one of the challenges that remain for the world, even now, with all this is that as we go along, earlier see our human activity was not taking too much of energy also. अब हर चीज के लिए we're taking energy. Like who thought these mobile phones will come in every hand, right? So the challenge for most of the people, energy economists, is how to predict this growth, how to predict a certain quantum of growth. Because what we will use next we don't know. Tomorrow we'll go to robotics. Maybe we'll not keep the house work and we'll keep a robo. उसको भी तो बिजली चाहिए भाई. Anything that you do. So our lifestyle cohorts, as they keep on changing and we access. So one set of population continues to increase its demand for energy in a big way. And there is no scientific way in which you can predict what's the future in a perfect way. So it's only like, we can make an estimate or a guesstimate. That is the challenge for most energy planners. वो guesstimate पे चल रहा है. वो assume कर रहा है कि ये growth rate CAGR यही होगी करके. Like we'll say, okay, now Indian economy, like we say Indian economy, let us take the long-term path. 13 trillion, I said, by 2032, and 6 trillion by 2027, 28, let's say. Let's say we can double by 2027, 28. पीछे जो भी गया उसको भूल जाओ, अभी कर सकते हैं. ये करने के लिए अपने को, today we are 3.3 trillion. I'm telling you, all the brouhaha, all the bazaar में आवाजें आ रही हैं. It cannot be done without 1.11 into 1.11. मतलब 11% average growth rate रहेगी तो वहाँ पहुँचोगे आप. अब कोई भी ये नहीं से देख रहा है कि the last 2 years, the trend analysis that we have done, we're not growing more than 6%. Right? This is the situation right now. We are at 6%, so we could even go lesser than that. Although we still are the fastest growing economy other than China. Right? China is below us. But we are very happy patting our back on 6% without seeing the target that to reach 6 trillion, we will have to go 11%. That is double digit. This is plain maths. I can tell you that this cannot be achieved without if we have to achieve 11% growth rate of economy, we need 15% growth rate CAGR of the electricity sector or the power sector. कुछ नहीं होगा भैया, आपको माइन करना है, निकालना है एफिशिएंसी. बहुत आज थोड़ी मिला ये पहले मिला हुआ था, उसके पूरा काम नहीं किया, अब बोल दिया मिल गया. आप गर्लफ्रेंड में ना वो पड़ा था वहाँ, अफगानिस्तान में पड़ा है, और Americans must have been stealing the lithium. We don't know.
चाइना में जब मिला था वो तो बहुत आगे बढ़ गई उसके बाद.
China was 11% deposit है भाई साहब. China has controlled Bolivia. You have not understood what China is. China controls 35 to 40% of global supply of lithium through business model.
पहले मतलब बनाया तो उन्होंने था लिथियम बेस्ड बैटरी यूएस में, लेकिन फिर उन लोगों ने पूरा का पूरा टेक
उन्होंने करने की कुछ जरूरत ही नहीं है. जब मैं लिथियम पे कंट्रोल कर रहा हूँ, मैं अपने एक्सपेरिमेंटेशन शुरू करूँगा. China is a good research country. They are capable of delivering their own. Don't be underestimating. Like India is also a good research country. पर हम raw material पे कहाँ कंट्रोल कर रहे हैं? So this what is in Jammu and Kashmir is raw lithium to process and bring it. अगर हमारी processing capability इतनी poor होगी कि वो lithium इतना costly निकले, कौन खरीदेगा तुम्हारा lithium? सिलिकॉन बना नहीं पा रहे, lithium की बातें कर रहे हैं. पहले सिलिकॉन तो बताओ.